What's up, everybody? This is Victor on the Let Me Explain show, and this is a follow-up video to the first one I did when I created this image. And this was just to show layering in Photoshops. And today, what I'm going to do is add some effects to it and see how we can create a nice image from it. And I'm just winging it. I'm not working from a template. I'm just going to make a creation from it without too many limitations to it. What I wanted to do is just show what I've done so far. So the image originally came from this. This was the original image I was working with. And what I did was remove the background completely. This whole background, as you can see here, if I turn that on, that's what she became. And this is the size has been reduced to fit into this background. And as you can see, it's layered, so each layer falls into its own category. And what I'm going to do today is just play around a little bit more with the image and see if I can add color to it, add more effects to it. The first thing I want to do is make a decision on what size I want it to be, and I would like to print it on a regular letter size paper. So what I'll do is open a new file, change that to US paper, and 8 by 11 resolution is 300 pixels per inch, which is good. RGB, I want to change that to CMYK because I'd like to print it. And that's about it. Title, yeah, I think I'll title it float, and we're good. So this is going to be our template, and what I'm going to do now is take our image, just drag that down like that, make sure you're in the move tool, and we're going to move all these layers besides the background into that. And how you do that is you click on one to highlight it, then you hold down your shift button and click on the next one. That way you select all of them, and then you just drag those into the next layer, and there we go. After that, I want to size it, so on a Mac it's Command T, on a PC I believe it's the Windows T, and the Windows plus the letter T, that's for transform. But you can also transform from the menu. I'll show you in a second. So let's resize that. The sky I don't need so much of, neither do I need so much of the ground, but I'd like to keep that rock. So about there we go. Perfect. And then I hit enter, and our image has been resized. As you saw, I changed the size of all the layers altogether because they're all selected here. But if I had an index file within there, I wouldn't be able to do that. So if you try it out and it doesn't work, one of your files might be an index file, or it might be locked, like the background file is locked here, and it wasn't selected, so it didn't have any effect on it. If I lock this layer, however, I will not be able to play around with it. So that's that in a nutshell, and now we're going to go into playing around with the image. So the first thing I want to do is I want to duplicate her so that there's another a similar one there, and invert it. So firstly we're going to find out which layer she's in, and so I'll title that models, since we're beginning to create more layers, and then I'll press Command I, that inverts it. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is duplicate it, so it's Command J. I don't know why J is for duplicate, because that's not how you spell duplicate. Anyway, so now we've duplicated her. All I have to do is drag her and drop her, drag her to this side, and the next thing I'll do is flip her horizontally. So if I press Command T, actually let me show you how you do it from the menu bar. So if you go into image, and then you go into transform, you want to find the transform button, sorry, edit and then transform, then you go into flip horizontal. There we go. And so the other way of doing it, let me just show you again. So if you press Command T, you're in the transform mode, and if you right click on it, then you can also go into flip horizontal, and then it's done. Another way to duplicate, let me just show you quickly. So let's get rid of that. If I hold down my Alt and Command key, I can duplicate straight across. So that's 3 ways you can duplicate an image. And then once again, I'll go Command T, right click, flip horizontal, and there we go. So now I've got 2 of her, and let's just make sure. Okay, there's an optical illusion where this one looks lower than that one, or the height is not seeming to be the same. So what I'm going to do is just check that with the grid, and how you do that is Command and then open quotes. It will give you the grid formation, and yes, we are definitely out of line because I moved this one. As you can see, that line goes right to the top of her head, but let's make sure it goes right to the top. So I'm in my move tool, and I'm going to use my down arrow to shift her down slightly. Then I select her, and then I'm also going to move her down slightly with the move tool. The funny thing is that even though they're now fully aligned, you will see that if I take out the grid by pressing Command and then open quotation marks again, somehow they don't seem to be in line, and that's because of the optical illusion caused by the lines in the tree. We have that line which is not present over here, but a similar line is there. Therefore, our symmetry in the back is messed up, making these look like they're not in line. An effect I do like. What I'm going to do is also duplicate the shadow which I separated from the model. If you look here, down here, I'll move the shadow. See, that's her shadow. I'm going to move it there, and then I want to duplicate it, Command J, then move it over to here, and there we go. But since she's flipped, I'm also going to have to flip the shadow horizontally. So Command T, and then flip horizontally. There we go. Move it down slightly. But the shadows are not actually in working with the light source in the background image. So what I'm going to do is rotate this shadow so that it's in line with the shadows in the background. As you can see, they run more horizontally, and these are running more diagonally. So if I right click rotate and go to the edge, then you can actually rotate the image, but that's not really working the way I want it to work. So what I'll do is right click, and then I'll distort. And what you can do with distortion is play around with the shape of the image until you have it where you want it. So let's pull that in. So you can see it's beginning to really mess up the image, the shadow. We're gonna twist it out, bring it in. This can be tricky if you're not familiar with how shadows and light work. So you're working on a 2D plane and trying to achieve a 3D effect. So it does take a bit of practice or keen observation to see what's going on. And what I'm doing is I'm fussing over something that's not really important, which is the shadow. But for the fun of it, why not? Alright, so we've actually gotten it right back to where we were, but we're almost there. As you can see, it's beginning to run horizontally perfect right there. And we bring this down again. So I'm using the distort function and basically twisting the shadow around. Right, so we bring this corner, bring it in, down, bring it out. I think we've got it where we would like it to be. Alright, so we'll place it there. Let's drop this a little bit. Bring it in, bring it out. There we go. Perfect. That's much better. And make it happen by pressing enter. And now we've got our two models and our model duplicated rather. And the next thing is we're gonna have fun with it. We're gonna add some color to it. We're gonna play around with it a bit more just to see what we can do. What I would like to do is emphasize this negative space right here and make it work for the image. As you can see, the tree is kind of like right dead in the center of the image, making it rather too symmetrical. So what I'm going to do is select the background and move it using my side arrow a bit to the side. That's much better. That creates so much of a better image. I'll move it up also because I don't want her to, I want to give her some space above her head right there. Great, awesome. Right, and now we have that issue with that space there. So what I'll do is Command T just to transform that, and so I'll enlarge it slightly. And once again, move our tree to the side. There we go. Much better. So I'm just going to do two more things to it. I'm going to work on this disc, give it a glow, and then after that we'll see what to do next. So I'm going to work with one of the models and then duplicate it across. So we don't need to work on both of them because the effect will be the same. Or if we want, we can do different effects on them. So what I'm going to do is enlarge, oopsie, sorry. We're going to enlarge the image and then move it down. So I want this disc, that's what I want to work with. So I'll get my selection tool and carefully select that. Oopsie, don't think I'm in the model. All right, when that happens, that means you're in the wrong layer that you're trying to select. So what I'll do is go into the model, turn it off to see if it's the right one. Perfect. And then now you can select that area. And as you can see, it's done a not such a tight job there. So if I hold on my Alt button, you can see the symbol changes to from a plus to a minus. So now I'm going to take out that area. Right, also take out that and then click on that. So what I'm going to do with this now is simply duplicate, copy and paste this shape. So how you do that is Command C, I've copied it, Command V, I've pasted it, and if we turn her off, you see we have the disk now. And I've just had an idea of what I'll do with it, and I'm going to duplicate it and multiply it so that it comes out as a radiant shape all the way out. There's a bit of dirt over here, so I'll need to clean that up. I have an idea for it, so we'll work on that. So over here I'll title this disk, and then what I want to do is let's give it some effects. Firstly, I want to give it an overlay color. So if you double click on it and then you click on overlay, let's see what's happening. It becomes all red. You've changed the blend mode to multiply and then it's transparent, but I wanted more of a, let's go cliche and make it a bit golden, or maybe blue. Okay, let's not be cliche, let's make it a blue shade, and then the second one will make golden. All right, and then we go click OK, and then we want to give it an outer glow also. Click that. So the spread, increase the spread. As you can see, it's already beginning to glow. Soft, precise. It actually gives it a nice glow to it. And I also want the opacity to be pretty strong. That, and then I want an inner glow. inner shadow, sorry. Oh, let's go with inner glow, and we'll change that color to a red, a deep red, and the choke size. That's pretty cool. Maybe there, and let's make it center, and change the size one more time. There we go. All right, that's pretty good. So I've got my shape, and if we take that out, that's what you get. So this is just the disk, and now I've created an animation basically. So what I'm going to do is duplicate that disk, Command J. Now we have two of them. I'm going to transform it, make it bigger, Command T, and then hold down your Shift button so that it doesn't distort. Drag it out, just like that. And then the next thing we're going to do is clean it up a little bit. But before we do that, let's lower the opacity so we see how aligned it is to the center. So I would like the center to be dead on, so I'll move that to there so that those two dots align, the one behind it and the one in front. Maybe that's too big a size. I'd like to do one more, so I'll make that slightly smaller, put that there, hit enter, and now really lower the opacity. It's at 59%. I want it to go down to 40%. Right, awesome. Right, and then also change the blend mode to multiply. Right, there we go. Now, just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to duplicate it again and transform the size. There we go. Make it bigger, and then center it. There we go. So now what I have is 3 discs. 1, 2, 3. 3 discs overlapping the original one, and I can play around with these now. Like for example, I could change the top disc's color overlay to a bright yellow, like that, and I can make it screen. Screen will make it brighter and less opaque. There we go. All right, so that's image 1. Let's reduce the size, go back to normal, and that's what we have so far. So I'll leave this video here, and then in the second video that I'll do, just for the sake of length, we'll see if we'll duplicate her over here. Actually, let's just do that so that we don't have to do that in the second video. So this is our model with no effects. This is where we started. I'm going to delete that. We don't need that. And then what I would like to do is duplicate her with all the effects, and to do that I'm going to select the top disk that I copied, and then hold on my Shift button, select the model, and then go Command G, which forms a group, and I'll call this model 1. Alright, and then I did that because then it becomes easy to duplicate. All I have to do is Command J, and then I've got 2 groups now, and I'll call this one model 2. I always like to label my files because, as you can see, it's already beginning to become messy. In Model 2 group, I've got quite a few layers. In Model 1 group, I've got quite a few layers. And if I didn't group them, this is what my panel would look like. It's already a bit overwhelming, and I haven't even started working on the image yet. What you can do is, if you're satisfied with the effects you've put here, you could flatten that image, then it becomes just one layer. But I would like to keep it open in case I want to change some elements within it. So I won't flatten it yet to make it one layer. And what I'll do is move Model 2 over to the other side. And all I have to do is make sure you're in your Move tool and just click and drag. That's all you have to do. And then we, if you go Command T, flip horizontally, and then we have that. and because I duplicated it, it should be in line. But let's just double check by putting our grid, and yep, she's not exactly in line, so I will move her down slightly to match the other one. Awesome. And there we have it. So I'll leave this video here for now, and in the next one we're gonna take our disk and put it, in fact, let's just do it. All right, so in this model, model 2, I'll duplicate disk 2 and then move it, click and hold, move it, drag it on top of the model 2 group, and then close that. Now I've got a duplicate of that disk, and all you have to do is drag it to where you want it to go. I want to drag it to over the tree, and then change the blend mode to overlay. No, let's change it to screen. That's where we were. Let's go to normal. Something is not right. Oh, okay, our opacity is too low. There we go. All right, so now we can change it to multiply. Nah, let's go for screen. Not exactly what I'm looking for. Let's go with multiply and then lower the opacity, lower the fill. Let's lower that. So you see, you can play around with it. For now, I'll leave it here. I promise this time I'm leaving it here. Let's leave it on normal and lower the opacity so that we just have an effect of the light there. Maybe if we move it down slightly. Yeah. And increase the size. So this image is beginning to be about that disk, whatever it is. The composition is pushing it more towards the idea of the disk. Pretty fun. So I'm just winging it. Like I said, I'm working from a composition. I'm just playing around and seeing what you can do with layers in Photoshop. All right, we'll see you in the second video.